Hi everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to make a really cute and cozy hoodie for a stuffed animal. The measurements I used will fit a Beanie Boo or any similarly sized stuffed animal. Now let's get started! So I'm going to be making these for Beanie Boos, and if you've never seen one before and don't know how big they are, they're a little bigger than my hand. The materials you'll need are pins, scissors, and your patterns. I ended up making some adjustments to mine after finishing the hoodie, so here are the measurements you should use if you want to recreate this at home. And of course you'll need some fabric. The fabric I'm using is actually the front panel of a string backpack I got from a college tour, and as soon as I saw it I thought it'd be perfect for a sweatshirt. I'm not going to this college, so I just ended up cutting it up, and this is what I'm going to use. If you want to get this same look, I'd recommend using an old gray t-shirt, and looking back, I think that's what I should have done because this fabric ended up being so hard to sew for some reason. Now I'm just going in with my patterns and pinning them down. I'm going to need 2 of this one I'm working with right here, and I'm also going to need 2 of the sleeves. And this is the hood, so I only need 1, but this one I'm cutting out right now, I'm going to need 2, and also 2 of the sleeves. So now I'm just going to continue cutting out all my pieces. And this is optional, but I also cut out this long strip of fabric that I'm going to use later. Now I'm going to grab these 2 pieces, and for one of them I'm going to hem the collar. I'm just folding this edge down all along the curve, but to make it easier I'm going to make a tiny cut in the center, and that just makes it less awkward to fold over. So now I'm just going to pin this in place as I fold it down, and I'm actually only going to do a straight stitch right in the middle part of the neckline. Since the hood's going to wrap around to the front a little bit, we don't need to hem that part. As you can see, I only sewed down that middle part, and now I'm going to grab the matching piece and I'm going to flip them good side on top of each other, and now I'm just going to sew straight across the top. After that's done, we can set this aside and grab our sleeves. So I'm just going to hem the bottom by folding it over once and then pinning it down right along this straight edge. I'm going to do that to both, and then I'm just going to sew a straight stitch right along the bottoms. Now we can sew the sleeves onto our body piece. I'm going to line up the curves of the sleeves and the curves of the body piece good side like this. I know this looks weird, but just pin them together like this the best that you can. I'm going to do this to the other sleeve as well, and then I'm going to do a straight stitch right along that curve. After that, we can set it aside and move on to our hood. So here I have the piece for the hood, and I'm going to make sure that the bad side is facing up, but with this fabric and the fabric you'll probably be using, you can't really tell, so it doesn't really matter. So now I'm just going to fold over this bottom edge and pin it down, and then do a straight stitch right along the bottom. Now I'm going to fold this piece in half, making sure the bad side is still facing out, and I'm going to pin right along this curve and then do a straight stitch following this curve. After sewing a line that followed this curve pretty closely, I tried it on my stuffed animal and it just looked really pointy, so I added a less dramatic curve. But you probably won't have to worry about this because the measurements I showed at the beginning of the video have already been adjusted. So now I just trimmed off the extra and we can grab our main piece, and I'm just opening the hood and turning it right side out. And now I'm going to line up the bottom of the hood with this circle we've kind of created, and I'm just going to pin it right around here. And I'm going to make sure the ends of the hood kind of tuck into the front and not stick out at all. After sewing the hood on, I'm just going to trim off this extra fabric from the end pieces, and then I'm going to turn it inside out and then try this on my stuffed animal. After it's over his head, I'm just going to look at where the sleeves are going to be, and I'm going to take pins and pin them right below his arms just to make sure I have the right size. And only on this side, I'm going to pin together the sides of the hoodie. I'm leaving the other side open because I'm still going to be adding a band at the bottom, but if you don't want to do that, you can pin together the sides of the other side as well. But for now, I'm just going to pin together the sleeve on the other side. Now I'm just going to do a straight stitch right where I put my pins. Now I'm going to move on to the front pocket. This is a little extra detail, but you can leave it off if you want. And first I'm going to start sewing down the sides of the curve, and I'm just going to do this by hand because it's so tiny. And I'm just going to do a simple running stitch, or you could do a back stitch. And I'm going to do that for both sides. After that, we can add it to our hoodie. So I'm grabbing my hoodie, and first we're going to sew the top part of it down. And the easiest way to do this looks a little bit complicated, but I'm going to fold down this top edge and then just kind of flip it up. And then I'm going to pin this in place and then do a straight stitch right where I put my pin. And that way when we fold it down, it'll have a nice clean edge on the top. After that, I'm going to add the band at the bottom, and that will close up the bottom of the pocket, but if you're not using this, you can just sew up the bottom of the pocket and be done. But for me, I'm going to take this strip of fabric and fold it in half, and I'm going to lay it good side to good side along the bottom edge. And so it looks like it's folded up, but when we sew it and fold it down, it'll be nice and neat. And I'm going to do a straight stitch all the way around while stretching this band lightly. And the last thing I need to do is turn this inside out and sew up that open side. I'm just going to do a straight stitch from the armpit to the bottom of the hoodie, and I made mine a little diagonal so it fits my stuffed animal better. Now I can just trim off the extra. After that, I'm going to turn it inside out, and then you are finished. Now I can try this on my stuffed animal. I love the way this turned out. Even though the fabric gave me some trouble, it still turned out really cute and is perfect for keeping warm in the fall. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you next time. Bye!